My name is John Wardman, founder of Engage IR, with Jack McCarthy from Dome Resources, here to discuss the prospects and opportunities for the company over the foreseeable period ahead. Over to you, Jack. What's your equity story and what's the summary of your people, project and potential?
Thank you, John. Dome Gold Mines is a company that started operations in Fiji in the early 2000s and was ultimately listed on the ASX in October 2013. We've got a small board, myself as a geologist and in the mining industry for over 50 years. I am a key technical person. We've got a lawyer, Sarah Harvey, who's on our board, and we've got a Japanese investor, Tadeo Sabata, who has a background in finance and investment. So we're well served. We don't need a lot of people on the board to run the company. Our main projects in Fiji are Sigatoka, which is an iron sand deposit, quite large, and then we have a porphyry copper and gold target at Namoli Wanavao up in the mountains above Sigatoka. At Sigatoka, we've been working primarily to define the resource over the last few years. We've now reached the final stages of a feasibility study on what we refer to as the main mining project. And what we will do there is we will produce magnetite and iron ore, a mineral that's going to be, in the first case, sold in Fiji itself, where there's a steel mill that wants to buy 30,000 tons a year, saving the company a fair amount of money in terms of transport cost for Asian markets. And then we're also going to sell initially construction sand and gravel into the Fiji market, which at the moment is about 1 million tons per year. And we'll be one of the few licensed operators producing quality materials of that type. During our feasibility study work, the government decided that it wanted to desilt the Sigatoka River. So they formed what they called a desilting committee. The committee then approached Dome and asked us if we would participate. And of course, we put our hand up immediately because we own part of that area that needs to be desilted. We went through a process of evaluation by the committee and were selected by the government to do the desilting program. And now that program is in the final stages of negotiation between the government and the local communities that are going to be impacted by the work. I might add that the desilting side has great benefits for the people in the area. It's going to mitigate annual flooding, which is a very costly problem for them to deal with, both business-wise and agricultural-wise and community-wise. Floods everyone. It's going to increase the depth of the river so that the fish stocks will grow in terms of quantity, and it will allow the river to be used for recreational and commercial purposes, which is not possible now because the water is too shallow. So we're very close now to production. We believe we'll get through either the PPP, we call it, the private-public partnership with the Fiji government, will start later this year, or we will finalize the feasibility study about middle of this year and seek to obtain the mining lease to start operating on the main mining project early next year. In addition to the feasibility study, we did a comprehensive environmental impact assessment, which is completed and is now ready for submission to the government for their review and publication. And it's a very sophisticated document that took a considerable amount of time to do.
Are you able to disclose anything in relation to the quality of the sands?
Yes, the sands, strangely enough, we initially went into the project looking at magnetite as our product. But in the process of the feasibility study, we had Boral Laboratories here in Sydney do some pretty extensive test work on the sand, and they determined that it is as good as the 3 best sands that they deal with here in Australia. So that makes it a very attractive product, and not just in Fiji itself, where it's the market's quite available to us, but also throughout the South Pacific. And one of the chief characteristics that makes it so attractive is its resistance to concrete cancer when used in the manufacture of concrete. And that concrete can have very, very high compressive strengths, so therefore it's suitable for bridges, high-rise buildings, and for seawalls, particularly in an area where they're looking to protect the islands against the rising sea levels.
Jack, I'm interested in Naduru, which I understand is adjacent to Namosi, which is one of the last tier 1 copper gold projects with around 55 million ounces of gold equivalent.
Yes.
Can you give us some color on that?
I'll give you a little background. Our project is contiguous with the Namosi project, owned by Newmont Mining now. It used to be owned by Newcrest before the takeover. Namosi is a giant porphyry copper gold system, well defined, about 2.2 billion tons. Copper, gold equivalent 55 million ounces. So it's a very big deposit. I think it's probably one of the last very large porphyry systems that has remained undeveloped. Our project next door is, we refer to it as Namoli-Wanavao, the two porphyry prospects. But in our workup, looking at historical data coming out of CRA exploration and others in the late 1970s and early 1980s, emerged a gold target. It's about 6.5 kilometers strike length, northwest trending structure that lines up pretty close to where it would intersect Namosi's porphyries if you continue the line to the southwest. And we are going to prioritize that target. We've been following the work being done by Tolokuma Gold in PNG using magnetotelluric airborne surveys and magnetic surveys and VLF surveys. And we believe we could adapt that technology to our prospect there and very rapidly develop the targets we need to chase up in detail. So that's also something we're very interested in doing in the near future.
So just finishing up, can you summarize why someone should look at your company to invest in?
Well, I mean, the short answer is that we're very, very close now to being a revenue generation mining company as opposed to just an exploration company. So we've been consuming exploration dollars, working up our projects, and we're at the stage now where we're very close to commercializing Sigatoka. I would also say that if we are fortunate enough to find the elephant at Namoli-Wanavao, the fortunes of the company will obviously change dramatically at that point as well. So very good time to invest. I think both gold and copper are very strong. Iron ore I see now is strengthening again with today's announcement of the deal between the US and China. So there we see something very attractive there. And the industrial sand market is one that has a very big shortage of the product and a growing demand.
Thank you very much, Jack McCarthy.
Thank you, John.